Good morning, students. We started in 10th standard about the excretory system. In the last class, we discussed about the kidney, the structure of the kidney, the location of the kidney. Today, we are going to study more details about the function of the different functional units of the kidney and also the location of the kidney as a whole. Now, you can see here there is a diagram showing both the kidneys. So, when you are viewing the kidney, you are viewing as if you are viewing your own kidney. So, we are saying this is your left side. So, this is the left kidney, this is the right kidney. And you can see here the blue color vessel is actually the venous vessel, which is the inferior vena cava, which brings in, which takes the blood from the kidney. And the other one is the dorsal aorta, which brings the toxic blood into the kidney for filtration. So from here the dorsal aorta, it enters through the renal artery. So renal artery is the artery which carries the toxic blood, but at the same time they carry oxygenated blood. So the toxic blood enters into the kidney, and then after filtration and all the procedure, it returns through the renal vein and through the inferior vena cava it is put into circulation. On top of two kidneys there is the two endocrine gland. A pair of endocrine gland, which is the adrenal gland, which we will study in the endocrine system. From the hilus of the kidney, you can see two ureter which runs down here into the urinary bladder. The ureter runs from the back of the urinary bladder in a region called the trigone. And it is from the behind, so I have projected it a little bit here. It should be in dotted line. The urinary bladder is made up of a type of tissue which we call a compound stratified epithelial tissue. So compound stratified epithelial tissue have a great stretchability. So the urinary bladder can increase in size in case the urine volume increases. And you know that about 1 to 1.5 liters of urine can be collected in the urinary bladder. The mouth of the urinary bladder is the urethra. Urethra is longer in case of male because of the penis, because the penile urethra is there. In case of female, the urethra is smaller. So urethra is a duct connecting the urinary bladder to the external opening. Now here it is guarded by a muscle which is called the sphincter muscle. The sphincter muscle is connected with a nerve called pudendal nerve. This muscle is involuntary in infant, and as we grow older it becomes voluntary. That means it is under our control when to pass out the urine or to start the process of micturition. Now, this is all about the external morphology of the kidney. And you know, I have already told you that it is located in the last thoracic, 12th thoracic vertebra to second and third lumbar vertebra is exact location in the retropenian peritoneal region. Now, if you see the kidney, the outer part of the kidney is called the cortex, and the inner part, the light inner part is called the medulla. The cortex is dotted, darker in color because of the rich content of the blood vessels, and this place is actually all the Malpighian corpuscles or the glomerulus are contained in this, and the loop of Henle runs into the medullary region. So it is darker in comparison with the medulla. And there are two types of nephrons here. The nephrons are the functional unit of the kidney, and each of the kidney contains several millions of nephron, and this nephron function together and do the total function of filtration, osmoregulation, tubular secretion, etc. etc. Besides, kidney has many other functions. We'll discuss in the due course. Now, there are two types of nephron here. One is called a cortical nephron, which is deeply embedded in the cortex region, and some nephrons are there in between just in the margin of the medulla and the cortex. That's called the juxtaglomerular nephron. And this contained number of the juxtaglomerular nephron and cortical nephron varies in different types of vertebrates. Also the loop of Henle. Now we are going to let us go to the, first of all, see the external, the total structure of the functional unit of the kidney. This is the nephron, and you can see this is the branch of the renal artery, which we call the afferent arteriole, which enters into a capsule-like structure, and it comes out through a small vessel which is called the efferent arteriole. So the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole. and inside it forms a tuft of capillary, a knot-like structure inside this capsular structure, which is called the glomerulus. The glomerulus is also covered by a capsule which is called the Bowman's capsule. So what is the Malpighian body? The Bowman's capsule along with the glomerulus is known as the Malpighian body. Now from this Bowman's capsule, here a tube runs here which is highly convoluted. There are twists and turns. This is called the proximal convoluted tubule, and then it runs down, which is called the descending tract of the loop of Henle. And then it takes a loop here which is called the hairpin loop and ascends. This is called the ascending tract of the Henle's loop. Then again it is highly convoluted, but this is called the distal convoluted tubule as it is away from the Malpighian body. But actually the distal convoluted tubule location is very near to this, which you will study in higher class, that they are not, here it is diagrammatically it is shown far away, but it is near to it. Now this distal convoluted tubule is connected to several this type of ducts which are called the collecting ducts. And the collecting ducts again combine from the duct of Bellini, and duct of Bellini joins to form, it goes into the pelvis area of the kidney, and there it throws the urine. So actually you can see here there is a structural difference between the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole. The afferent arteriole is thicker, efferent arteriole is thinner. Now that creates some hydrostatic pressure inside this glomerulus, which allows the process of ultrafiltration, where the toxic material as well as good material is forced out of the glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. Now we are going to study about the histology a little bit later. Now a part of the efferent arteriole is branched in the capillary form, you can see here, and this capillary is called the peritubular capillary or the vasa recta. This is actually the vasa recta, and all of them are collected together and then joins to form the renal vein. So the renal arteries bringing the toxic blood, filtration is taking place, then selective reabsorption, tubular secretion, whatever the function we'll discuss later, and the rest of the thing which is collected here from the filtrate from the blood is called the glomerular filtrate. This glomerular filtrate is, it contains in the PCT area, the proximal convoluted tubule area, it contains toxic material as well as many good materials. Now what are the good materials? Like glucose, like amino acid, like water, like various types of salts. Now this body cannot afford to lose the amino acid, neither it cannot afford to lose glucose. So what happens, even water also. So most of the total amount of amino acid, the total amount of glucose, and 70% of the water is reabsorbed in the PCT area. Now there is a specialized type of cell in the PCT area which we call the brush bordered cuboidal epithelial cell. Now the function of the brush bordered cuboidal epithelial cell is to reabsorb the materials which are good, which we cannot afford to lose, the body cannot afford to lose. It is reabsorbed back into the peritubular capillaries, and then it enters into the blood system so that it can be utilized, because we cannot lose amino acid in the urine. You cannot lose glucose in the urine because these are very vital components. In any case, suppose if the kidney is unable to reabsorb it, we say that's a malfunction of the kidney and the protein appears or the glucose appears into the urine, then we say that there is something wrong in the system, and that leads to certain types of disorders called glycosuria, having glucose in the urine. Like people who are suffering from diabetes, they for a long period of time, uncontrolled diabetes may lead to have glucose in the urine, and that is called the glycosuria. Or if amino acids is there inside in the urine, then we can call it a proteinuria. Like this, various types of disorders are there. Now, let us go and structure the Malpighian body in detail. So the Malpighian corpuscle here, you can see it has the part, this is the afferent arteriole, the glomerulus is branched in this, and the afferent arteriole takes out the blood, which is of course connected to the renal vein. Now this tuft of capillary is the glomerulus, and here the Bowman's capsule is lined by a type of cell which is called the podocyte cell. It is a type of specialized squamous epithelial cell which looks like the feet of a person. That's why podocyte, podo means peda, it comes from the word feet, and
site, that means cell. So fit like cell, which are single cell, and here the difference in this pressure, hydrostatic pressure here, because the blood comes in a thicker vessel and moves out in a thinner vessel. So naturally a greater pressure is created, which forces the glomerular filtrate to come out of the blood. The RBCs do not come out from the plasma, only the part of the glomerular filtrate that comes into this Bowman's capsule and collected here. Now this together, we say the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule together, we call it the Malpighian body. And this is the starting of the PCT, the proximal convoluted tubule, which is lined by the what we call the brush bordered cuboidal epithelial cell, whose function is reabsorption. Now we are going to study in just the outline, what are the functions of the kidney. Before that, I want to just tell you that formation of urine, this process is called urepoiesis. Okay, just mark the term. Urepoiesis is the formation of the urine, but the act of passing out the urine is called micturition. And urine contains various components. We'll discuss that in due course. Now, what are the steps in the formation of the urine? So there are 4 steps. Basically, kidney has a lot of function. We don't say that it's a function of the kidney. It is the steps in the formation of the urine. The first is the ultrafiltration, which I have already discussed. Second is selective reabsorption, and third is osmoregulation, and fourth is tubular secretion. Now there are specific regions where it takes place, where the ultrafiltration takes place, where selective reabsorption takes place, where osmoregulation and tubular secretion takes place. So here that is the structure again of that same hand drawn diagram. We'll see here that where are the places where this takes place. Like say for example, we say the ultrafiltration takes place in the Malpighian body. This is the place where the blood is filtered out, and here the ultrafiltrate, or what we call the glomerular filtrate, is collected. Then the selective reabsorption is mainly in the PCT, where 70% of the water, the total amount of glucose, the total amount of amino acids and part of the salts also, they are reabsorbed back into the blood. Who is absorbing? The blood capillaries are absorbing from this PCT. Then we have this part. This is the place where the water reabsorption takes place. And the balance of water and the ions is called osmoregulation. And osmoregulation is a function which is basically done by helped by a hormone which we call the vasopressin, or the antidiuretic hormone secreted from the posterior pituitary. But that is not the only hormone. The hormone helps in reabsorption of water, but osmoregulation is actually a act of balancing the ionic balance in the body, in the blood, and that is mainly the function is by a type of what do you call this a process where there is a mechanism we call a counter current mechanism between the flow of the blood and the flow of the glomerular filtrate. Now, selective reabsorption basically takes place in this particular place of the distal convoluted tubule. Not selective, tubular secretion. Tubular secretion is actually the body also secretes certain waste materials. Like if you are taking more antibiotics, if you are taking water soluble vitamins, the blood can deposit into the glomerular filtrate, and that can come out into the urine. So that is what we call the tubular secretion. So basically these are the 4 functions. We are going to study in a little bit more detail in the next class, and go through this particular chapter. If you have any question, you can put up the question, and thank you very much for listening, and take care. Thank you very much.